different sources for that. Your YouTube videos, for the explainers, the MCQ series on different reports, budget, economic surveys, that provided me with very good practice. I also extracted content out of those explainer videos to include in my notes.
ऑलिवबोर्ड का वो मेंटरशिप प्रोग्राम था, उसमें अनिल सर के 2-3 सेशंस हुए थे, तो उन्होंने भी गाइड किया कि क्या अप्रोच रखना चाहिए, अगर मेंस का पेपर के लिए प्रिपेयर करना है तो वो कैसे प्रिपेयर करना है, प्रीलिम्स के लिए अगर अप्रोच रखना है तो वो कैसे रखना है। तो इस तरह से ओवरऑल फिर एग्जीक्यूशन के साथ में हुए।
Hello everyone. Very good evening. Welcome to Oliveboard. My name is Varsha Ma'am, and here in this session we are going to discuss about a very important report that is released by NITI Aayog. Okay, so with this report we will be capable of knowing like what are the specific measures or specific initiatives that can be taken by our government so that we can increase the pulses production. Okay, because as it is announced in the Union Budget of 2025-26 that we are targeting to become Aatmanirbharta or self-reliant in pulses production. Okay, so this is a fresh report which is released by NITI Aayog. Okay, if we talk about the report, this is a report of nearly 300 plus pages, but we are not supposed to do that particular thing. We will discuss the key highlights of this report in this particular session. Okay, so let's start our discussion. So the aspirants who are in the class, please let me know that my voice is clearly audible and everything is clearly visible to you. This report is very important because there are so many important data related things we are going to cover from this report, and at the end we will talk about like what type of approaches we can follow as it is suggested by NITI Aayog, like that we can use to increase the production of pulses. Okay, so we'll discuss about the vertical expansion and the horizontal expansion as well at the end of this report. So this report you have to attend till the last particular slide. Okay, so let's start our discussion about this very important report, and here we go. Yeah, before going forward, aspirant, you can see, you can install the application of Oliveboard, right? And from there, you will get the notes in PDFs of the YouTube classes, and as well as the other batches available for your better preparations. Okay, so you should have the application of Oliveboard, right? And this is a batch available. This is currently going batch of NABARD graded 2025. You can enroll in this batch and start your preparations with us. See, it's not that the, as I always told you, and you guys are keep on asking that is it sufficient to do the YouTube classes, or we have to focus on the batch classes only? No, you have to do the integrated preparation. Your YouTube classes and your batch classes both are important. I'm not repeating any such thing for the batch classes and the YouTube classes. One thing, and the another thing, see, static portion is also very important, and I'm covering all the static portion in detail in this batch. Okay, so that's why this batch is very important for your better preparations of static portion, because in the previous year we had observed there are so many questions from the static portions and they are directly linked with the current affairs part, right? So here we go, let's talk about it. So this report was released on 4th of September 2025. See, whenever I am covering any report for you, I am mentioning the date also, okay, and that is for your reference. Okay, that is for your reference. For example, I covered the agriculture annual report released by MOSPI. Then I covered the NABARD annual report. Other than that, we had discussed about the livestock census and other things. Okay, so you should mention, like, whenever you will face any question in your examination, reference will be given, like you have to answer as per 2024-25 data, as per 2020-21 data. So you need to talk, you need to take care about all these things while answering the question. Okay, see, we had covered the NEFIS 2.0 also. Please go through that. We had covered Panchayat Advancement Index. Okay, initial one, the 1.0, and after that PI Panchayat Advancement Index 2.0. So these are also reports available for your revision. Please go through all these reports. Okay. Now moving ahead, let's talk about it. NITI Aayog releases a report on strategies and the pathways. So what kind of strategies and what kind of pathways we can follow so that we can accelerate, we can increase the growth in pulses towards the goal of Aatmanirbharta. Okay. So although we are always at the like initial or at the top rankings whenever we talk about the pulses production, but as we are the largest producers and the largest consumers of pulses as well, okay, so India is the world's largest producers and consumers of pulses, right? So there's a need to take some specific steps so that we don't need to import the pulses from any other country, right? Yeah, very good evening, Shraddha. Very good evening to you. The role of pulses, why we need to consume the pulses? Because the pulses are the richest sources of proteins, fats, okay, and proteins are needed for our physical development. They are also needed for our nutritional well-being, okay. So the role of pulses in ensuring food security, nutritional well-being, and sustainable agriculture. Why sustainable agriculture word is written here? See, pulses production, like the farmers who are involved in this pulses production, basically they don't need to follow take a follow up of the fertilizers and all this. Like the requirement of the soil or the basic requirements are quite manageable when farmers are dealing in pulses production as compared to the major crop productions like the wheat and the rice, okay. So it will, the roles of pulses in ensuring the food security, nutritional well-being, and sustainable agriculture with significant environmental benefit is therefore very critical, okay. And they also give the benefit to the environment, like there will be no negative impact on the environment if we are going for excessive production of the pulses, okay. So in this context, a report, and the title of the report is Strategies and the Pathways for Accelerating Growth in Pulses Towards the Goal of Aatmanirbharta. Okay, so this report is released. So this recently this report is released, and that is released by Honorable Member NITI Aayog, Professor Ramesh Chand. Okay, so this report is released by Honorable Member of NITI Aayog, Professor Ramesh Chand, in the presence of Shri BVR Subramaniam. Who is he? He is CEO of NITI Aayog. See, aspirants, you should be aware about the CEO and the chairman of specific organizations which are in news. Okay, I always mention whenever I see this kind of statements, ki please learn the name of this delegate or this personality. That can be asked in your general awareness portion. Okay, Secretary, Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, Secretary, Department of Agriculture Research and Education, and Director General, Indian Council of Agriculture Research, and he is Dr. Mangi Lal Jatt. Okay, Dr. Mangi Lal Jatt. Okay, he is the secretary of there, and he is a DG of ICAR. Okay, so this is important. Now, what are the important points about this report? So this report was published by, and this report was presented by. Now look at this point, the presentation on this report. So how, like you can see that this is a report of nearly 300 plus pages. So whole presentation was prepared by Dr. Neelam Patel. She is senior manager, senior advisor of Agriculture Technology Division, NITI Aayog, right? And the report lays out. So what is specifically mentioned in this report? Like this report is telling you about all the strategies and all the pathways that we can follow as a country. Yeah, we know that our country is having 15 different agroclimatic zones, 20 different agroecological regions, and all the regions and all the zones are not having the same type of soil, not having the same type of climatic conditions. So we cannot use the same kind of process in all the states, all the regions and the zones. So we need to focus on region specific, state specific approaches. Okay, and as we are talking about the enhancement in the pulses production, so as per the requirement of that particular pulse, we need to focus on the strategies. Okay, so this report lays out a detailed roadmap to accelerate the growth so that we can work in the direction to accelerate the growth and the transformation of Indian pulses sector. And with nearly 80% of production dependent on rain-fed areas. Okay, you know the meaning of rain-fed areas, like the major water source or major irrigation is done by the rainfall water. Okay, and sustaining the livelihood of over 5 crore farmers and their families. The sector is vital to rural economies and the vision of Aatmanirbharta. So that's why this sector, that's why pulses production is a very important thing nowadays. Okay. So following a decline in production. So yeah, this is important. Like in 2015, 2016. Following a decline in production to 16.35 million tons in 2015-16. So in 2015-16, we observe that pulses production declined. So it just comes out to be 16.35 million tons. Okay, which necessitated, so because of this much production only, okay, we were not capable of fulfilling the pulses requirement of the nation, and that's why we decided to import it from any other country, like basically from Mozambique. Okay, you might have heard about this in news also. Okay, and from some African countries. Okay, we started importing the pulses. Okay, and how much? 6 million tons. Concerted interventions by the government of India spurred remarkable progresses. Okay, but we keep on progressing in this direction. We keep on working in this direction so that we will be capable of fulfilling our country's growing pulses requirement demands. Okay, so by 2022-23, so by 2022-23, pulses production rise by 59.4%. Okay, so there we observed an increase in increase of 59.4%, and it become 26.06 metric tons. Okay, it become 26.06 metric tons, accompanied by a 38% increase in productivity. Okay, so we observed that we reached this value to 26.06 metric tons. Sorry, you can see here it was earlier 16.35 million tons, and we saw an increase of 59.4%. That means the value rose to 26.05 million tons, accompanied by a 38% increase in productivity, reducing import dependence from so earlier we had an import dependence of 29%. So because of a rise in 59.4%, it reduced to 10.4%. And that is only possible because of the government's effort in this direction. Okay, now building on this momentum, so we observe that now we are having the good production. If we always have the good consumption of buses, and now we are also moving the direction to have a good production of pulses also. So with this momentum, we are moving forward so that we will become self-reliant or Atmanirbhar in pulses production. So that's why our union budget of this year 2025-26 has a special mention that we have to become Atmanirbhar in pulses production in the coming time. Okay, a 6-year focused initiative targeting, and these are the dal we are targeting: pigeon pea, black gram, and lentils. Okay, masoor, arhad, and tur. Okay, we are moving in the direction to become Atmanirbhar in the production of these three pulses: masoor, arhad, and tur dal. Okay, to further strengthen India's self-reliance in this sector. Please mention, it can be a question like which of the following combination of the pulses we are targeting to become Atmanirbhar in pulses production. So you should be aware about, we are talking about the pigeon pea, the black grams, and the lentils. Okay, our main focus on these three pulses production. Okay, now another is India's, as I already told you that we are having the different agroclimatic conditions, we are having the different agroclimatic zones, so all the different areas are having the different crop requirements. Okay, so because of diverse agroclimatic condition that support the cultivation of 12 pulse crops, so our country is supporting 12 different types of pulses crop to grow. Different types of pulses crop to grow across Kharif season, Rabi season, and the summer season. Okay, so these three seasons are supporting 12 different types of pulses, and that's how we are becoming, we are moving in the direction to become self-reliant in this further. And production is like, you, if there's a question like which of the following state have the highest production of pulses, so one is Madhya Pradesh, okay, Maharashtra, Rajasthan, contributing about 55%. So these three are contributing nearly equal to 50% or more than 50% of total pulses production in the country. And if we talk about the top 10 states accounting for over 91% of national output, like that we are getting in this. Okay. Yeah, Ananya. Yes. Any doubt, anything you want to know, please mention in the comment box. I'm looking for your comments also. Okay. Don't feel like I'm not looking at your comments. I'm looking for your comments as well. Yeah. Okay, now moving ahead, let's talk about another important thing. So, addressing these gaps is vital for reducing import dependency, ensuring nutritional security, and advancing the country's goal towards Aatmanirbharta in pulses. Right. Now, some of the important points about this report. So, the report report have mentioned the current status of pulses production in our country and what is our future potential. So as per the 2025 union budget, we had targeted that in the next 5 years, we want to become self-reliant in this direction. And that is only possible if we have specific strategies in this direction. Okay, strategically also, only we can do this. We need to focus on sustainable agriculture practices. We need to take care that it would be we will be sufficient, having sufficient enough production so that our nutritional security will be maintained and the food security will be maintained. So it can only be possible if there are specific strategies to move in this direction. Okay, and its further future potential, including a detailed analysis of consumption pattern, like how much the families are consuming and like which particular pulses are having the major requirements and all. Okay, the report projected pulse production to rise steadily with domestic supply estimated to reach 30.59 million tons by 2030 and 45.79 million tons by 2047. Okay, like whenever we are talking about we are mentioning our 2047 data because we are planning to become, we are working in the direction to become Viksit Bharat by 2047. So that's why our recent reports, our recent missions have a special mention of 2047 because in this year we are about to cover our 100 years of independence. Okay, that's why we are having a mention of 2047 in all the reports, recent reports mentioned and to achieve self-sufficiency in this sector. So it is not a easy task like saying about something, mentioning in a notebook and discussing with the people in a meetings can help us to become self-reliant or self-sufficient in that. There's a need to have a proper practical layout in this direction. So this report lays out a comprehensive strategic framework to bridge the projected demand supply gap, ensuring long-term sustainability of pulses production. Like it's not that we will achieve the target in 2030 and after that it would be like as it is we can go. No, we need to make this practices sustainable, long-term sustainable, anchored on two core pillars. So this practice, this target of achieving self-sufficiency in this sector can only be anchored further on two core pillars. One is a horizontal expansion. Okay, horizontal expansion majorly aimed at increasing the area. Horizontal expansion, this is a horizontal area. So earlier we are having the limited area under the pulses production. Now we are moving the direction to increase the area under the pulses production. So that is a horizontal expansion when we increase the area under the pulses production. Okay, so utilizing untapped land resources like the rice fallow lands, like the land which is not suitable for rice crop or paddy field now, we can convert this land area for the pulses production. Okay, and like we need to do some specific practices in the beginning to make the soil suitable for the pulses production, but we can move in this direction. Okay, and efficient intercropping, like we have some intercropping combinations like alley cropping we talk about. Okay, like we have that sunflower mustard combination. Similarly, we have the combination for the pulses crop as well. We can follow a suitable pulse crop and major crop combination, and that's how we can enhance the production of pulses crop. Okay, another is a vertical expansion. So what comes under the vertical expansion? Focusing on enhancing yield. Okay, so horizontal expansion includes like earlier, for example, we are having only X hectare area under the pulses production. Now we are moving the direction to increase that area from X to X or some other value. Okay, so that is a horizontal expansion. Vertical expansion, like you are growing a specific type of crop, now you need to use some improved measures so that the productivity from that area will be more. Okay, so in this we are moving, or we are practically focusing on enhancing the yield, and it can be possible through improved farming practices and technology led interventions. When we follow these things, then only it will be possible. Na? So what kind of practices can be done under the vertical expansion? First is having a good quality of seeds, having a improved varieties and the hybrid seed treatment, and quality assurance, like before sowing any seed in our agriculture field. Okay, we are investing a lot of resources in preparation of the field. So we need to take only hybrid and improved variety seeds in our field. Okay, and its quality should be assured. Value addition should be done through processing, like after harvesting of the crop, the post harvest practices on the pulses crop should be done well. Timely and scientific sowing practice. It's not like you are sowing any random crop at any random time. No, there should be timely and scientific sowing practices, and as well as integrated approaches to nutrient, pest, weed, and water management. Okay. Huh. Yeah, yes, Ananya, that's a very good question. See, we choose Masoor, Tur, and Arhar. The reason for taking this pulses production combination is, one is that the basic requirement for sowing of the seeds of this crop is not so high. Another thing, they're having good nutritional value. The main factor is they're having very good nutritional value, and they will support the nutritional security. Although whenever we talk about, we mention that all of the pulses that we are consuming are rich sources of proteins and certain amount of fats in them. Okay, they are having other nutrients also, but we are focusing on this because one thing is that the soil requirement and other climatic requirement for these crops are quite manageable in all the areas. Another is that they are having quite high nutritional value. Okay, for example, we have the wheat and the rice, but still we are moving towards the coarse cereals. The reason being because as the changing climatic conditions, as the soil is becoming more degraded because we are using the chemical fertilizer in the soil from a long period of time. Okay, now this coarse cereal requirement is quite manageable. Okay, they can sustain in less prepared soil as well. So similarly, this pulses crop also. Okay, so that's why our main focus is on Masoor, Tur, and Arhar. Okay, and further, the district-wise quadrant approach outlined in the report offers a valuable tool. Okay, so district-wise quadrant approach is followed. Like all the districts are having, for example, all the areas in our country are divided into different agroclimatic zones, which we had covered clearly, okay, in our static portion sessions, okay. So similarly, when different regions coming under the different zones, they will have different rainfall patterns, they will have different soil, different temperature, and they will support the different type of crops. Okay, so district wise coordinate approach will be followed. Otherwise, focusing on a specific crop in a season which is not suitable for it, it will only take you to use multiple resources in that specific area, and like you will not get the production, you will not get that highest production you are supposed to have. Okay, so all the factors to be considered, and to guide implementations, the report identified restrict clusters, right? And the strategic interventions recommended in the report offer a viable path to not only bridge the import gap but also position the country on the trajectory towards. Okay, so if we follow these strategic methods like this horizontal expansion and the vertical expansion very scientifically, okay, it will not only help us to bridge the gap of the import, it will also help us in becoming more self-reliant in pulses production. Okay, So that's why the strategies are important. And the report notes that with focused adoption of these, so if we keep on focusing and adopting these strategies, the country has a potential to significantly increase the domestic pulse production by 20.10 million tons, enabling a supply of 48.44 million tons by 2030 and 63.64 million tons by 2047. Okay, so if we talk about our current potential, so this is the target that is saying if we keep on focusing on these strategies mentioned and recognizing self-sufficiency in pulses as a national priority to navigate these paths successfully, the recommendation and the way forward of this report are laid down based on the valuable insight gained from a primary led field survey encompassing. So under this, 885 farmers are surveyed. Okay. After that, we took all the valuable data and the informations from them. And with the help of all these informations and requisite strategies, we prepare this report. So this report is not just a theoretical thing. This report is having a practical significance also. Okay, and if there is a question like 5 major pulse producing states are, so they are Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat, Andhra Pradesh, and Karnataka. Okay, and from these states, the farmers were connected, the problems were discussed, and then this report is prepared. So the report concludes with several recommendations to achieve self-sufficiency in pulse production. So this is having like at the end, this report is a special mentioning like what are the important conclusions that we can have from this report. One is area retention and diversification through targeted crop-wise clustering. Okay, like with which particular crop you are clustering or we are following this intercropping pattern. Like now you are following this pulses production in the area. That area should be retained in the pulses production category for the next cropping season also. Okay, so area retention and diversification. This is a one strategy that can be followed. Adoption of customized technologies for varied. See, this is important. Like this is a new term for you, and it is important also. Customized technologies, like you should not think of following a rigid technology in all the agroecological subdivisions or subregions. No, all the different agroecological regions are having their specific technologies to be followed on. So there should be an adoption of customized technologies as per the requirement of agroecological region. Emphasize on high quality seed distribution, like we need to focus on vertical expansion. The seed quality, the seed that you are using for sowing of the crop should be of high quality. Treatment kit especially focusing on 111 high potential district contributing 75% of national output. Okay, so there should be treatment kits there so that the seeds will be treated with the specific chemicals before sowing. Okay, one block, one seed village cluster based hub facilitated by FPOs where so this seed village will provide you all the high quality seeds. Okay, so there should be one block having one seed village and this cluster based hubs facilitated by FPOs. Okay, so this should be followed and the report emphasize on so that's how proactive climate adaptation measures are also mentioned in the report, driving data-led transformations through comprehensive monitoring and decision support system. Okay, so this report is also mentioning about climate adaptation measures like what are the specific measures we need to adapt when there will be the changing in the climatic conditions. That's why there's a specific mentions for the agroclimatic regions. Okay, so this is all about the like I had covered the points thing only. Okay, the point thing only I had covered that is important for your exam preparation and rest of the thing like when we'll do the current affair MCQ session. So I'll cover the MCQ related to this in that particular session. Okay, so here I am ending a session for now. You can get the PDF of this session from our mobile application of Oliveboard and yeah. See, aspirants, if you are seriously preparing for NABARD grade examination, your static portion should also be done very well. And this static portion is available to you here in this batch, okay? And if you have any doubt or any query related to any preparation, you can connect with us and you can ask your doubt there. Okay, bye-bye and all the best. Take care.